Right, so we're at the edge of the screen over there, and the edge of the screen over there, and it's mostly sand and heat everywhere, and oil occasionally. We've got a volcano or a vent over there. What else did we find? Is that a volcano slash vent? That is a volcano slash vent over there. We have got a leaky oil fissure here, which is not actually something we need because we've got an oil reservoir over there. But you know what? We could get some power out of that nice and early, so it's not a bad thing. I mean, we're going to have loads of oil around here. It's the heat that's going to be the difficult one for us to deal with. What else we got? We got another vent, or 2 vents over there. Okay, because this is geoactive, so we are going to have a lot of vents. We're going to be able to play around with a lot of potential resources. And thank you very much, Maple Rin, for the 6 months. Diolch yn fawr. Continuing the Let's Play would be wonderful, but it depends on what you've got time for and what you want to do, of course. Yeah, no, I get you there. Oh, come on, we need grave rooms, Annie. But what we do is we put the graveyard far away from the base. I feel that that's the compromise. We have the graveyard far, far away, and that way we don't have problems. I think it's a solid plan. A solid plan. Right. Okay, so we've got our nice little great hole over there. Got an icy fan trying to bring down the temperature because it's ruddy hot outside, and the inside we're somewhat managing it. We've got heat that can come in through down here, but that's fine. We're cooling this by allowing this glacier to by run down into it, to try and absorb some of the heat out of that stone. But eventually we're going to have to deal with that. We've got a little, by the looks of, because I really don't remember much of what we did. Got polluted water exiting the colony on that side. Clean water exiting the colony on this side. There we go. So this is prioritizing sending clean water up into all of the lavatories and such, and also we're preparing for a spawn. We've also got backups, so if this ever really does run down, then this can fill that up. Down here, we are running it through this, but if there's too much that this can't handle, it gets pumped out here, and I can probably have this feed back in. But you've got to be careful with the way you do this, because if I had this enter back over there like we do over here, it would just create an infinite loop, and so I'd just be bleeding away power for no good reason. So we're not going to be doing that, but this is going to be useful for other things. Now there's lots of stuff you can do. Have we actually got algae on this map? No, we do not. We have got some slime though. Oh, we've got slime thanks to some puffs, no doubt. I wouldn't mind setting up a tiny wee little bit of a slime farm so that I can get a little bit of algae. Because honestly, in my private game, I've been playing around with algae terrariums. There's something that I very rarely ever build, except in my normal builds. It's something extremely uncommon that I build, but there might be this little spot somewhere. I'm like, yeah, you know what? That's a perfect place for me to stick an algae terrarium, because I don't want to actually run a pipe over here to pump oxygen in. There's a little bit of CO2, and it's just this tiny little pocket. I just need a little bit of oxygen in there, because it's far away from the base, and the dupes are having to go over there, and then they run out of breath. If I could just have a tiny bit of oxygen here, that would be enough. So I'll stick in a little algae terrarium. But I've been looking at the math, and this is one of the things I love about Oxygen. As someone who enjoys math, this is a great game for me. Turns out an algae terrarium is it's more water efficient than an electrolyzer by an enormous margin. We're talking quite an enormous margin now. We're not talking small fractions. We're talking huge amounts. And it's more algae efficient than a oxygen diffuser. Even if you take them both combined, you basically take the efficiency of a. I mean, it's kind of more of a muddied profile, because there's no easy way of working out of quantifying the value of duplicant time and labor. So understand this isn't a perfect comparison, but just on the raw inputs, So if you're talking only about the inputs of the resources without considering duplicants as a resource, then in each case, they're more efficient than the other. So more water efficient than the electrolyzer, more algae efficient than the diffuser. Even if you combine them, it still works out a bit more efficient than both. So, yeah, I've been exploring potentials with algae automation. There's only so much you can automate because you have to have a duplicant to come and empty out the polluted water that builds up in an algae terrarium. But if you're reusing, like if you're using a water sieve, they run incredibly water efficiently. Like crazy water efficient. Yeah, the water drip helps quite a lot actually. Just submerging them in a couple of kilos of water allows you to do quite a lot with it. One side effect though is that algae terrariums, they don't have a natural like gas pressure maximum. They'll just keep producing oxygen. You can super overpressurize an area. If you enclose it, you can create a crazy high pressure area of oxygen that will just pop eardrums the moment anyone comes close. Let me just catch up on chat a little bit. Sorry, I haven't begun things yet. I will be getting into it very, very soon, though. Hey, Omega Draken, thank you very much for the well wishes. And hey, Waffle Battle Twitch, thank you very much for the subscriptions there. First time I've subscribed without using Prime. Diolch yn fawr, mate. Thank you so, so much. And William, the Graveyard Talk was about Terraria. Got hella confused. Sorry about that, mate. My bad. Curse Black. Why would we talk about the game he's actually playing when we could be talking about another game he plans to play? Shush. Okay. We can have a look at the dupes. Yeah, of course. And Empress Calico. Is it? Oh, Kaiko, sorry. Sorry, I'm still reading off my tablet. Thank you very much for the 4 months there. But let's go and have a look in on our dupes then. We've currently got Shally. Oh, okay. So Alacramps has got a little bit of stress. Why is that? Oh, sopping wet. Yeah, fair enough. They never like that one. Never like that one. But it is a requirement. Let's go have a look at their skills. Gives a bit of better overview. Shally's got a couple of points it can spend, but I don't really find the need to spend them. I guess I do in a way. I could get you up to plumbing. I don't know though. I might leave you there. Generally speaking, there are some things that I'll go for with every duplicant, and that is carrying and at least a little bit of advanced research. It depends on how much morale room I've got to play with. Here, for example, I'm not going to take the second one for carrying for the Force because we haven't got enough morale yet in the colony to justify it. We've got all of the hard digging there. Got a little bit of advanced research, a little bit of carrying. I may grab some building, honestly, there. Our farmer here, doing well. Talk down here, doing very well, actually. In fact, Talk, I'm going to get you plumbing. Let's grab that one. That way I've got someone who can empty a pipe. Big Al, time for you to grab the second one there, and I can upgrade you a little bit. That carrying capacity is so amazing. And Weregoat, did I not give you anything, my lord? Did I just grab you and then we wrap things up? Did I set you up with the schedule and everything? Or yes, I did. I did indeed. Okay, we're trying to build things up for you. What about your priorities? Have I set you up with your priorities correctly? Yes, I have. Okay, well, that's a bit of an interesting one. Oh well. Our haulers have got hauling. They're the only ones who really got hauling on any kind of high priority. Building. See, Alacramps, maybe I will give you building, because I could do with some people who have that. So, sure, go ahead. Let's get you a little bit of building there. But as for you, let's get you your art, because you like it. There you go. And now, Alacramps, you've already got building on a little bit of a priority. That's fine. That's what you'll do digging first, but you'll take care of other things after that. Nico Shana, thank you very much for the 23 months. Oi, 23 months, what? Let's see. What a marvellous hat. Indeed. Thank you. These emotes are too cute. Oh, diolch. I'm glad you like them. Yes, hoping to get ferret emotes soon. Very soon. Make sure there's someone who's good at loving like your favorite people from RimWorld. That is such a... I feel so weird about that. This is something so strange about that. I just love carrying. I mean, I really love it in an unhealthy way. What? Big Al. Oni, 2020. Yeah, pretty much. Right. Okay, so this is going to be our little home bubble for now. Where's our research setup? Ah, there we are. Good. Eventually, that's going to be located outside, but for the time being, it's going to live in there. Okay, so having a quick look over the important things, we have a little bit of slime, interesting, but no algae. In terms of consumable ore, we have 17 tons of coal. That's not a lot, unfortunately. Now, I am going to need some places to set up some honking great tree farms, I'm hopeful for. But that's going to be a little bit of time before we can get to that. We also need to deal with all of this heat now, and I'm a relatively new player, all things said and done. So I'm not particularly good at these things yet. So this is definitely a learning experience for me. So I do hope that you will be gentle. We are not worrying too much about cleaning the water of germs because I'm not using it for cooking. It's just being used for my grey water. It will be used for my oxygen production once the SPOM is up and running. Now, we're running a very, very simple SPOM here. There will be oxygen down here, pulled out. And the force is very unhappy. I'm so sorry. But we'll have hydrogen in there, grabbed up here and pumped into the hydrogen generator, rather. Oxygen pumped out everywhere else. I'll probably get that pumped out elsewhere as well. Oxygen wise, we're okay somehow, but it's not going great. It could be a lot better. You know what? I feel we need to do something about these rooms. So we're going to set those up right now. Let's have a look at the priorities. I would like these one of these done at a fairly high priority. The others can be waited on. But I would like all of those done reasonably fast. So let's get these going. Thank you very much for cooling down this place. We've got mostly enough in here. It's not becoming stiflingly hot yet. We have got our coal power supply hooked up right now. It's currently running a little bit of things. It's not yet running these. I need to hook that up properly. Let's get that done. Right about there. I've made these out of aluminium. Okay. Once those are done, I can just connect that automatically. I don't even need to worry about it, really. Hooking this up, I'm going to need the power spine to come along here and up, and I will power it that way. Just get enough power in there. And so the priority creep begins. Now, I tend to try and keep a handle on my priority creep. I feel that if you use to high priority all the time, then effectively you've just cut off the lower half of your priority list, so you may as well not even have those numbers there. It's worrying that Aavak talks about setting people on fire so often. Look, it's just a really efficient way to stop people from shooting at you. People have this wonderful habit of just not doing anything else, even things that are highly conducive to their future survival, if they're already on fire. Shooting you, who is inevitably going to stab them, drops very, very low down on their priority list when they are aflame. It's just one of those things. I like using 3 as baseline priority for standard task. Yeah. quite often, you know what? I have tried playing a little bit with having things low down, but it frustrates me that whenever you open this up, it'll always default to 5. And so, after a while, I stopped trying to play with lower priorities. Just because it's annoying to have to faff with that. There we go. I'm so sorry you're hurt. Can I send you over here? I can. Oh, marvellous. I'm going to wait for you to apply that water to whatever you're applying it to. What are you applying it to? You're applying it to the ferns. Well done, you. Okay. And then you can go duck down for a little bit. Feel better soon, I hope. Feel better soon. Maybe I could actually drip feed these with water. I'm not sure if, like the algae terrariums, they can absorb water from their environment directly. That would be useful if they could, but I'm not sure if that is the case. Right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set at least one of these up. Sweep only. All. But I don't want... Well, actually, the organic can be there. I'm going to give this a very high priority. It's going to be straight up 9. This should be the only one. If I'm telling them to sweep something, it should be the only one that they ever go to. I want this job done reasonably fast. Let's get everything moved along as we can. And then I'm going to deconstruct this. Everything will drop on the floor. And I'm going to do the same on each of the levels. And eventually I'm going to have one of these, I don't know, probably built on a little tile here. And I'm going to move everything over there. Then I'm going to deconstruct the tile and let it all fall down here. Out of sight, out of mind. I could use a hydroponic tile saw to field the ferns. That's a very good point, actually. I could absolutely do that. Maybe worth doing. It might well be worth doing. Currently, these are doing alright, though. And I'm happy to just leave them do. What's the gas bag bug? That is a puffed. Well, puffs are an interesting one. Let's bring up their info, shall we? So here we are, the puffed. The puffed is a mellow creature whose limited brain power is largely dedicated to sustaining its basic life processes. Puffs often have a collection of asymmetric teeth lining the ridge of their mouths, although this feature is entirely vestigial, as puffs do not consume solid food. Instead, a baleen-like mesh of keratin at the back of the puffed's throat works to filter out tiny organisms and food particles from the air. Unusable air is expelled back out the puffed's posterior trunk. It has a posterior trunk. Along with waste material and any indigestible particles or pathogens, which it then evacuates as solid biomass. The puffed is an easy creature to raise for first-time handlers given its wholly amiable disposition and suggestible nature. It is unusually tolerant of human handling and will allow itself to be patted or scratched nearly anywhere on its fuzzy body, including, unnervingly, directly on any of its 3 eyeballs. That is incredibly unnerving. I'd never read that part. A specialized air bladder in the puffed's chest cavity stores varying concentrations of gas, allowing it to control its buoyancy and float effortlessly through the air. Combined with extremely lightweight and elastic skin, the puffed is capable of maintaining flotation indefinitely with negligible energy expenditure. Its orientation and balance, meanwhile, are maintained by counterweighted formations of bone located in its otherwise useless legs. Aww. Now, there are a couple of quirks to the puffs. They can live in an incredibly wide range, but they're only comfortable in a much smaller one. They consume polluted oxygen and will eject slime. So as they eat polluted oxygen, they will eventually poop out slime, basically, at a certain percent of the mass of the consumed polluted oxygen. Now, if a puffed is not living in proximity to a puffed prince, then it has a nearly 100% chance of laying a puffed prince egg. The puffed prince has, very similar stats, but it can consume all 3 gases: polluted oxygen, oxygen, and chlorine. And depending on which one it consumes, it'll poop out slime, bleached stone, or oxalite. The puffed prince, depending on what it consumes, has that is a bad sign. Has differing chances of producing a squeaky puffed if it's consumed lots of chlorine, and the squeaky puffed only consumes chlorine, or a dense puffed if it's consumed a lot of oxygen, and the dense puff poops out oxalate, but it can only consume your oxygen. Now that's actually good for a spawn because you overproduce oxygen typically. So you can just have squeaky puffs, basically turn it into solid oxygen, which is so much better for storage, like crazy better for storage. The game volume is a bit too low. Let's have a look. Is anyone else feeling the same thing? Okay, everyone is feeling somewhat similar. I mean, I haven't changed it from the last game, but I'll bump it up a bit for you. Bump. We'll pop it up by 15%. There we go. But yeah. Now, things are quite quiet at the moment, but yeah. So you can use puffs to do quite a few interesting things. Right, now I've stored everything here, so let's drop everything and then re-enable sweeping so they can continue sweeping all of that stuff up. And this will put everything in one nice big clump right there. Have we got slime? Yes, we have. I want that. See, I can't necessarily sweep that just yet. I don't even have somewhere to put it just yet. I've got a... do I allow slime down here? Yeah, I do, actually. Okay. Well, I'm going to let them grab everything else. But puffs are a good source of slime, and slime can be turned into algae. So it's a way we can get algae. Take care, actual rabbit. Is the volume a bit better now? Should I leave it where it is or push it up a bit? Must be marbles. Sick at home, in bed, and seeing this stream is live made my day. Oh, I'm really glad. Could be louder again. Okay, I'll pop it up by another 10% then. Go and take care of that for you. Womp, 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 womp. There you go. Bit of stress, some food poisoning. It sucks, but, you know, this is life. We want to get into some... Oh, right, wait. Who, what, where, why, when? Where was that mess made? Ah! That is almost always an indication that someone has trapped themselves. Sorry, Alacramps. That does suck, doesn't it? And can we immediately get that mopped up? Because I don't want pea water dribbling down everywhere if we can avoid it. There we go. Well done. Okay, well, we've made our way up here. We've got a little bit more to look at, and at the very least, I can probably dig my way in and find out what we got there. Honestly, that's usually all you need to dig in to find out what something is. As far as I'm aware, this is the tile that prevents something from dumping. From starting to erupt. Let's cancel these because I believe we're going to be able to see it anymore. Oh, come on. Alacramps, really, why? I love the raising the volume sound effect that Aavak makes. I'm glad you like it. Oh, wow. An actual decent biome. Do you mean this? Yeah, it's a little bit of a change from what we've normally got, isn't it? We have not got much of a problem with water, though, which is a very nice thing to see. We also need to get over here, frankly. So I probably need to pop in a little bit here and there so we can get in there and just check that out. I'll check out what that is in a moment. But, all things said and done, we should be okay. Now, it's going to take a little while for people to move all this along. I really do wish they would move the polluted water sooner rather than later, though. There's really no reason for us to have that building up, but... I don't know. Now, what I could do, if I wanted to... Like, one of the things that you can make use of, for example here, I've got this little overflow. And if I ever really need to get rid of this, for some reason, I could just have this pump keep a thimble reed going. Do I even have thimble reeds? I do not. Oh, interesting. Oh, well, and I could have an arbor acorn. I could have one domestic tree. That would drink an enormous amount of polluted water if I didn't care for it. Certainly, that's one way of making this completely self-enclosed, if you want to, is you can have the water sieve pump directly into... so you'd have a closed loop, have a water sieve down here, and the water sieve pump back into it. But as the polluted water is coming in, if it can't enter the water sieve for some reason, it just diverts into a single hydro tile of a thimbleweed. That thimbleweed will drink more polluted water than you will be producing in excess. And so you no longer produce excess polluted water. It'll always make sure that the system is topped back up fully, but any runoff will be sent to the plant, and then you'll have an extra resource. It depends on what's available. Oh, didn't get anything there. That's a bit of an oddity. All right, I'll dig into this then, find out what's there if we can. I mean, I can definitely hear something is there. Can I hover over this in any way? Nope, don't know what's there yet. We'll find out shortly, though. Getting more and more of this ice brought in where we can. And he is totally evil. But it's the sort of evil. Honestly, Annie is the worst kind of evil. It's the insidious evil that doesn't appear to be evil, so you're less on guard, and it's easier to just go along with it. You totally are evil, Annie. Decrying how unfair it is that we're calling you evil is exactly what an evil person would do. 100%. There we go. Finally moving some of this polluted water that we've had sitting around here for a way too long. On the plus side, this puff is actually eating all of this polluted oxygen up, so you know what, that's fine. Fine by me. Let's go ahead and dump all that again. There we go. Getting this room cleaned out little by little by little by little. I'm going to pop these in here temporarily, and then we're going to have secondary containers there. Pretty much we're just going to move it all along. There we go. And then we're going to move on this room. It's going to be a bit of a process to get it all done, but it is absolutely worth it because it's going to clean these rooms up and people are going to be less upset about them. All right, deconstruct. Now, what I would very much like, this also means that all the slime is in one place, and I would like that swept actually as a priority 9. Please get that slime out of there because that's producing slime now. There we go. Thank you very, very much. Let's get that down there into the... Thank you. That's all I wanted from you. Diolch yn fawr. Right. Next up is going to be this one. I want this as a priority 9. Only sweep jobs. And once again, let's get everything swept into this tile. If you could. Please and thank you. And eventually then we'll just dump all of that out across and then just deconstruct them until they fall all the way down. Now, because there's so much stuff there, it does actually still work out worth it to build little intermediate ones at these points, but it takes a little bit. Right, choose a blueprint. Let's have a look. A Drecklet. Now, a Drecklet is very, very nice. And thimbleweeds. I kind of think we should take the thimbleweeds. And don't know if we're going to get one otherwise. Yeah, that container will still spread slime lung unless it was submerged. The slime will still off gas and produce slime lung, but if I'm controlling it by having all of the slime in one place with deoxidizers just above it, it's going to turn that slime lung germy PO2 into O2, and the slime lung will start dying. It's not an amazing system, but then why would I need an amazing system? It's not the ye olde slime young, which was genuinely a threat. How will you feed your magic mushrooms if not for slime? Mushrooms, Aavak, mushrooms! Badgers, and snakes, etc. You can't use the thimble reed because it's too hot. Really, can I not? I mean, I'm cooling the environment, so I should be able to.